Hi, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Romsteadt. Thank you so much for joining me for a story. I am so excited. I hope that you love to read as much as I love to read. Before I begin to read the story, I would like to know if you have a favorite author. I have a favorite author, and her name is Janelle Cannon. While the name might not be familiar to you, I am sure her book, Stella Luna, is. Stella Luna is a story about an adorable fruit bat who falls into a bird's nest and tries her very best to fit in. Stella Luna is a book that most people can relate to. Have you ever felt like you didn't fit in? Because I know I have. After I read Stella Luna, I knew I had to learn more about Janelle Cannon and to see if she wrote any more books. And believe me, she did not disappoint. Janelle Cannon is also the author of Verdi. Verdi is a young, proud python who is sent out into the world by his mother to grow up big and green. But Verdi doesn't want to grow up big and green like the other pythons because the big green pythons are lazy and he does not want to be lazy. But later in the story, he comes to find out that his life may depend upon him growing up to be big and green. Another book from Janelle Cannon that I love is Crick Wing. Crick Wing is a cockroach, which I think of cockroaches as being gross, but if you look at the cover, Crick Wing is very cute. Crick Wing is tired of being picked on by larger creatures and tries to make himself feel better by picking on ants because they are smaller than him. But he comes to find out quite quickly that he doesn't have the heart to be a bully. I really would love to read one of these stories to you, but Janelle Cannon's stories have a tendency to be a little long, and just because she's my favorite author doesn't mean she's your favorite author or the favorite author of some of my students. So what I thought, I tried to think about some of the books my students read a lot, and definitely Eric Carle comes to mind, Dr. Seuss, and definitely Mo Willems. However, I know a lot about them already, so I decided to do a little bit of research on Tedd Arnold. Once again, you may not know his name, but I am sure that you are very familiar with his books because he is the author of The Fly Guy. So let me share the information with you that I found. Tedd Arnold was born on January 29th, 1949, and is currently 71 years old. He took his first art class when he was 10 and went on to get a fine arts degree from the University of Florida because his dream was to become an illustrator. And today, he has written and illustrated over 100 books. He has a wonderful family. His wife's name is Carol, and he has two sons, Walter and William. While Walter and William are grown and have families of their own, his family played a very big part in him becoming the amazing author he is today. One of the things that I found very interesting was that before Tedd Arnold became an author, he had various jobs just like you and I might have. He had a newspaper route. He was a soldier, which shows he was very heroic. He cooked hamburgers, he popped popcorn, and he counted worms at a fishing store for people to fish with. He was also a designer and advertiser, which is probably where his degree, fine arts degree, came into play. Tedd Arnold became interested in writing and illustrating children's book when him and his wife would read to their two sons at night. He kind of looked at the books and saw that there weren't many words on each page, so he thought to himself, how hard could it possibly be to become a children's author? I always like to think of what inspires an author to write. And Tedd Arnold's first book was No Jumping on the Bed. And it actually was inspired by his son, Walter, because he used to love to jump on his bed. And they actually lived in an old apartment building in New York City, and parts of their ceiling had been crashing down, had been falling out. So Tedd Arnold imagined his son jumping on his bed and falling through his neighbor's ceiling. It actually took Tedd Arnold 6 years to have this book published. So becoming a children's author was not as easy as he thought it would be. No More Water in the Tub is a sequel to No More Jumping on the Bed, and a sequel is kind of a continuation. No More Water in the Tub was inspired by his other son, William, who almost overflowed the bathtub in the same old apartment in New York City. We now come to my favorite book from Tedd Arnold. Parts is the first book in a series of 3, and it was also inspired by real life experiences with his son Walter. When he lost his first tooth, he became very nervous because he literally thought his body was falling apart. So I cannot go any further before I read the story to you. So I want you to get comfortable, and if you'd like to grab a snack, put me on pause and I'll wait for you to come back. I just don't know what's going on or why it has to be, but every day it's something worse. What's happening to me? I think it was 3 days ago I first became aware that in my comb were caught a couple pieces of my hair. I stared at them, amazed and more than just a bit appalled to think that I was only 5 and starting to go bald. Then later on, I don't recall exactly when it was, I lifted up my shirt and found this little piece of fuzz. I stared at it, amazed, and wondered, what's this all about? But then I understood it was my stuffing coming out. Next day, when I was outside playing with the water hose, I saw that little bits of skin were peeling from my toes. I stared at them, amazed, and then I gave a little groan to think that pretty soon I might be peeled down to the bone. Then yesterday before my bath, as I took off all my clothes, a chunk of something gray and wet fell right out of my nose. I stared at it, amazed, and thought, I should be feeling pain. Well, wouldn't you if you just lost a little piece of brain? So now today I'm sitting here enjoying Dr. Seuss, and suddenly I realize a tooth is coming loose. I wiggle it, amazed, dismayed, too horrified to speak. Without my teeth, how can I eat? Already I feel weak. Now I'm really worried. I'm as scared as I can be, 'cause finally what's happening is very clear to see. The glue that holds our parts together isn't holding me. One day I might be playing ball and have my arm fall off, or maybe I could lose my head if suddenly I cough. And now I'm thinking to myself, what's next in line to go? Might be my ears, might be my eyeballs. How's a kid to know? Quite soon I'll be in pieces in a pile without a shape. Thank goodness Dad keeps lots and lots and lots of masking tape. What? You forgot to tell me teeth fall out? And when they do, some brand new teeth will soon begin to sprout? My hair, my skin, and everything, there's nothing I should fear. So all of me is normal. Whew! That's really good to hear. Then tell me, what's this yellow stuff I got out of my ear? I hope you enjoyed this story, boys and girls, and if you liked this one, there is definitely more to come. There are 2 more books in this series. One is called More Parts, and the other one is Even More Parts. While I would love to read the stories to you, I don't have that kind of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the links for the read-alouds directly below the flip grid. Okay? Just a little bit more about Tedd Arnold before we go. You know already that he is the author of the Fly Guy series, and there are 18 books in the first series. And then he recently started Fly Guys Presents. There are 13 books in that one. His last 2 were Fly Guy Presents Garbage and Fly Guy Presents Monster Trucks. He wrote them back in 2019. So come to think that he was 70 years old when he wrote both of those books. So hopefully there will be more good books to come from this series. Now it's your turn. Now it's your turn. Learn more about your author's life and what inspired them to write. Search for other books written by your author. Share one of your favorite books. Compare your favorite author to Tedd Arnold, or try to walk in your author's shoes and rewrite the ending of one of your favorite books. Don't forget the illustrations. Thanks a lot, boys and girls, for tuning in. On behalf of the first grade teachers, we love and miss you. Happy reading.